welcome back to Planet 40k. So we've had some leaked images of our second army of Renown, which is of course the Cult of the Cryptek. So we're going to be going through those images, go through all the information, and kind of work out how we're going to be using this new army of Renown. So guys, I am doing this on the fly. I've had a little glance at some of the abilities and stuff, but let's go through what we've got. So Cult of the Cryptek, there are some restrictions and there are of course some benefits. The restrictions are as follows. So your army can only include the following: Cryptek models, Canoptek models, Necron warriors, and the Convergence of the Dominion, which is their fortification. So there's quite a lot of models to pick from. There's a lot of Canoptek models in particular. Now all units in the army must be drawn from the same dynasty. Yeah, that's kind of standard. As for the benefits, all units within the army gain the Cult of the Cryptek keyword. Cool. For the purposes of the Command Protocols ability, all Cryptek units in the army have the Noble keyword. Got a feeling this has been printed before our rules got updated, because we don't actually need nobles anymore for our command protocols. So surely they've got to fix that. That makes absolutely no sense. It's not for the secondaries either. It literally says for the purposes of the command protocols ability. So that one is a weird one. The third bullet point, you've got access to the Cult of the Cryptek Warlord Traits, Cryptek Arkana and Stratagems. I can't see any relics there. And then finally, the Cult of the Cryptek units in the army gain the Tomb Guardians ability. See below. Let's have a look below. So Tomb Guardians, the units never gain the dynasty code. Okay, and you're going to be passing 1 to the attacks characteristics of all models in the unit. Then finally, you can reroll reanimation rolls of a 1 for all units in this army of Renown. That's surprised me quite a little bit. I thought we'd just get a +1 to our attacks rolls, because most of our guys have Canoptek units. So we're getting +1 to our attacks as opposed to our attack rolls, which I think is okay. It's not the greatest thing. I mean, I might be wrong on that. Once I start breaking down the figures, maybe that's really good, but at first glance, I don't really like that. And being able to reroll our reanimation rolls of a 1, well, our Necron warriors already have that, so that's part of this army of Renown, kind of already redundant, but I suppose that's not too bad on our other models, multi-wound models, Canoptek scarabs, spiders, and all that kind of stuff. But let's get into the next part, which is the Cryptek Arkana. So we've got 6 new Arcana pieces to play with. Let's go through them. So the first one is the Atomizer Stave for the Plasmancer model only. So each time you're using your Harbinger of Destruction ability, you roll 6d6 instead of 3. So that's the ability where on a 4+, the enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So you've now got the potential of doing 6 mortal wounds. You're averaging maybe 3, maybe 4. It's not too bad. Next we've got the Oracular, how do you say that? Oracular Mantle. I don't know if I got that right. Technomancer model only, equipped with the Canoptek Cloak only. The bearer has the following ability. I'm not going to try and say that word again, but it's an aura. And Cult of the Cryptek units within 6 inches of this model, each time they make an attack, target does not receive the benefits of cover against that attack. Yes. I'm not going to really pay for that. How many points is that? That is 20 points. I don't think I want that. In fact, the other one was also 15 points. I didn't mention that. That one isn't too bad for 15 points. But 20 points for your opponent to lose light cover. Yeah, I don't think that's that good. The next one in line is the Auto Divinator. At the start of your command phase, if the bearer is on the battlefield, you roll a d6. On a 5+, you gain a command point. How much is that? That costs 20 points as well. I don't think that one's too bad. 1 in 3 chance of getting a command point back. But to be honest, no. You know what? I don't think I'll take it. Not for 20 points. Number 4, the Entropic Chronoshackle. For the Chronomancer only, at the start of your opponent's movement phase, you can select 1 enemy unit within 12 inches of the bearer. You roll a d6 on a 4+. Until the end of the phase, that enemy unit cannot be selected to fall back. That one's really situational. That kind of sounds like something that the Psychomancer would have. It's a little bit of a weird one. Am I going to be taking that one? Probably not. What's that one worth in points? 30 points. No, I wouldn't take that. That's too expensive. Next is the Neutron Shroud. The bearer gets a 2+ armor save, and once per battle, when making a saving throw for the bearer, you can activate the Shroud, and when you do so, the bearer has a 3+ invulnerable save. So far, I'm not liking these. That one, I mean, yes, it keeps his survivability up, I guess, but if this thing gets caught at range because the lookout bubble is broke, it's already going to die at some point soon anyway. And if it gets caught in melee, then it's probably going to be dead as well. So I think this one's another redundant one. And the final one is Obedience Nanoscarabs for the Psychomancer only. Each time the bearer uses the Harbinger of Despair ability, you can select 2 of the effects instead of 1. Yet you stop them from doing actions, you can make them lose objectives secured, half the advanced and charge rolls, and they cannot fire Overwatch or set to defend. Again, it's another situational one. I don't like that, so I'm really disappointed so far with, well, everything actually. I don't quite like the abilities that much, and the Arkana I'm not that impressed with. So let's move on to the next topic, which is the Warlord Traits. I'm hoping this will redeem itself because so far, not impressed. So if your Warlord is from the cult of Cryptek, yeah, you can generate one of these Warlord Traits. Number 1, Master of the Cult. In your command phase, you select a friendly cult of the Cryptek unit within 9 inches of the Warlord. Until the start of the next command phase, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. I thought we should have had this as the actual main ability for this cult of the Cryptek Army of Renown. But for some reason, it's only a Warlord trait. Got to pay a command point for it as well. And it's only models within 9 inches of that Warlord. Okay, I mean, it is okay, but I expected this throughout the entire army. Number 2, Curator of the Deadly Curiosities. I can't even say that one. When you select this Warlord trait, select one weapon the Warlord is equipped with, excluding relics. So you're going to do the following. You're going to improve the AP characteristic of the weapon by 1. Okay, and you're going to add 1 to the strength and damage characteristics of the weapon. So none of the Cryptek models do that much damage in terms of their ranged attacks or melee attacks. The only one that has some sort of damage output is Illuminazaris, but he can't select his own Warlord trait. So number 3, Conductor of Legions. In the command phase, select a friendly cult of the Cryptek unit within 9 inches of this Warlord. Until the start of the next command phase, if that unit is performing an action, you can make ranged attacks without the action failing. Okay. So we have that as an army-wide command protocol if we wanted to, with Protocol of Sunstorm. So you don't need to pay a command point to do this. Okay, number 4, Codifier of Lesser Beings. In the command phase, you select one friendly cult of the Cryptek unit within 6 inches of the Warlord, and one enemy unit that is visible to the Warlord. Until the start of the next command phase, each time that friendly cult of the Cryptek unit makes an attack against that target, add 1 to the attack's wound roll. That one's not too bad, to be honest with you, because you've got Necron warriors that can take the Ghost Reapers, and if they're strength 5 going up against toughness 4, toughness 3, they're already wounded on a 3+, that will now go to a wounded on a 2+. That will see some playability, I think. Number 5, Fluid Necrodermis. You can ignore any or all the modifiers for the Warlord's movement characteristics and to the advanced roll and charge rolls of the Warlord. They're awful in melee, I don't understand that one. Then once per turn, for the first time a saving throw is failed, the damage characteristic goes to 0. Again, that's something that I would not be doing. Okay. Number 6, Infomonger. Infomonger? In the command phase, you select a friendly cult of the Cryptek unit within 6 inches of the Warlord. Until the end of the battle round, that unit receives benefits of both directives of the active command protocol. Oh, that's why it's the end of the battle round. Okay, that one is a little bit like the Zerican Dynasty, or if you're playing a specific dynasty with that same protocol, you get both. Yeah. Okay. Again, I'm not that impressed. Apart from one of them, which is the one where it's a +1 to the wound roll, I think the rest of them are not that great. Let's get on to the stratagems. The first one, Overkill Protocols. This is 1 command point. Use a stratagem in your command phase. You select a Canoptic Wraith unit until the end of the next command phase. So each time a model in the unit making an attack with the Vicious Claws, you improve the AP by 1. So the Vicious Claws AP was -2 AP, it goes up to -3 AP. But against the units that you kind of want to target with these weapons, mainly Space Marine models, they've got the Armour of Contempt, so that goes straight back down to -2 anyway. So the second part of this stratagem, each time a model in that unit that makes an attack with the Whip Coils, they make 1 additional attack. So normally Canoptic Wraiths have 4 attacks, but with this new Cult of the Cryptek, of course they get an additional attack with the ability that makes 5 attacks. Whip Coils actually double your attacks, so that'll be 10 attacks. And then with the additional one from this stratagem, that will be 11 attacks with the Whip Coils. That one isn't too bad. There's a lot of attacks there. If you've got a 6-man unit, that's going to be 66 attacks. That's going to be doing quite a bit of work. This next one is Stalking Annihilator. 1 command point, used on a Canoptic Doomstalker. When they make a normal move or fell back, the model is eligible to shoot in that turn in which it does so, and it will be using its high-powered profile, even though this model did not remain stationary. Yeah, that's not too bad. I mean, I still think the Canoptic Doomstalker sucks. D6 attacks, D6 damage. They need to change that. Maybe they have in the latest stratagems, I've not really seen them yet. Next we've got Aggression Overrides. Use this stratagem in your command phase, you select a Canoptic Spider unit from your army. And then until the start of the next command phase, you add 2 to the movement characteristics of all models, and you also change the weapon skill characteristics of the unit models to 2+. That one is usable. I quite like Canoptic Spiders. I think they're a really good unit, really resilient. They're throwing out more Canoptic Scarabs. They've got the Gloom Prism for the Deny the Witch, They've got strength 8 claws. The only thing that used to let them down is their speed, but now you're getting an additional 2 inches to that speed. So they're going to be moving 8 inches. And they're going to be hitting on 2s as well. That's really cool. They were previously hitting on 4s, now hitting on 2s. That makes a big unit of Cryptek Spiders very usable. In fact, I can see that common combination coming back out here with the Technomancer, the Cryptek Spiders, the Cryptek Scarabs. Using that stratagem, yeah, that's going to be pretty good. The Swarm descends. 1 command point. Use the stratagem before the battle. Select a Cryptek Scarab unit from your army. That unit gains a dimensional translocation ability. So you get to deep strike a single Cryptek Scarab unit for 1 command point. Don't know how I feel about that one, because you could actually put them into strategic reserves. You can get 2 units of 5 models into strategic reserves and still only pay 1 single command point. Now I know you're not choosing exactly where they're going to be coming in because there's no deep strike, but coming on from the battlefield edges is not as bad, but it still gives you the option. But I don't mind that one, it's not too bad. It gives one of our cheapest units deep strike, which I think is good. Okay, Exalted Cryptek, 1 command point. This is the one where you can effectively give one of your Cryptek models 2 pieces of Arkana as opposed to 1. And depending on the battle size, you can do that more than once, more than twice, whatever. That one would be usable if our Cryptek Arkana was actually any good. There's only 1 or 2 of them that I think are any use. The rest of them are absolute garbage in my opinion. But there's probably some combinations, and we'll do a video in fact of all the new combos that we can achieve with these new set of rules. So yeah, stay tuned for that one. Next one, we got the Cryptek Overdrive for a command point. Used when a Cryptek Wraith model in your army is destroyed. So until the end of the phase, each time model in that unit is destroyed by a melee attack. If that model has not fought this phase, do not remove it from play. The destroyed model can fight after the attacking models have done finishing making their attacks, and then you remove it from play. Okay. Again, there's probably some sort of synergy and some sort of combinations that we can do with that to make our Cryptek Wraiths a lot more punchier. We'll have to look into that in more detail. The second to last one is the Hyperdense Particle Beams. So you select a cult of the Cryptek unit in your army. When they're shooting, until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack with the Particle Beamers or Particle Casters, improve the AP characteristics of the attacks by 2. Now I quite like to put the Particle Beamers on the Cryptek Spiders. So they're strength 5, no AP, 1 damage at present, so you can get them to minus 2 AP. Yeah, that can see some play. I don't mind that one at all. And the final one is the Enhanced Gloom Prism for 1 command point. This is for Cryptek Spiders again, and you're going to be adding 2 to your Deny the Witch test. That's pretty good. We like those kind of ones. We do need some more anti-psyker in our army. And I think that is actually everything for the Army of Renown for the Cult of the Cryptek. First impressions, I'm not impressed. I was really excited for this one. I was really looking forward to it. And I don't think they've given us the abilities that we've required. But once we do a deep dive into exactly what we can do, maybe I'll find some combinations and maybe you'll find some combinations which will actually be really overpowered. But at first glance, I don't like the Arkana. I'm not that keen on the ability, a +1 to the attack roll. Reanimation rolls, you get to reroll 1s. The Warlord Traits, apart from one of them, are pretty trash. And the Stratagems, there's a mixed bag in there. There's probably some combinations, we'll have to look more deeper into it. So guys, that is the Cult of the Cryptek Army of Renown to the second Army of Renown for the Necrons. There will be a video coming up at some point this week, or maybe next week, early next week possibly. So yeah, drop a like, hit that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.